Oh, you guys better get your squid juice and sit down, because old Big Mac's got a rant coming, and it's a big one! Welcome back to the Rebels Go Fast. I'm old Big Mac, and this is a rant video. Let's get into it. All right. For those who've been living under a rock, I am old Big Mac. This is the Red Ones Go Faster. It is a YouTube channel devoted to Warhammer, the hobby, specifically 40k, mostly orcs, but we do talk about everything. And this is a rant video, which is not usual for me. I'm usually very, very positive, and it's all about the hobby and kit bashing and building things and playing Kid Hammer with my 4 kids and all that kind of stuff. But something has happened for the second time, and I just can't handle it. So we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to rant at you, and you're going to listen, because old Big Mac has really, really good ideas, and the more traction we can get, maybe Games Workshop will listen to me instead of whoever the heck they're listening to. Let's get into it. All right, I was actually filming a completely different video, and I kept going off the rails, and I realized I just need to do this. My rant is about this, the Astra Militarum, specifically their new codex. Not this new codex, but he might as well be, because this is crap, and so is their new one. And that's the second time they've done it to this army, and it's just something that shouldn't happen anymore, so we're gonna talk about it. All right, so set the stage for you. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Warhammer 40,000, it is a game that has a set of core rules, and then it has army rules. And those army rules come in codexes. Now, sometimes when they change editions, we're on the 10th one right now, by the way. Sometimes when they change editions, these stay valid, and they keep moving from edition to edition, okay? So the new edition of the core rules come out, but it's still similar enough that all of these remain good. You keep using what you use until the new one comes out, and it's all gravy. Sometimes that basic rule set is such a reset that they go into what's called the index. And all of these for every army becomes invalid, and you play out of the index until your codex comes out. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Famously, when 8th edition dropped, the preceding editions, 6th and 7th especially, were really hot garbage. So that reset was really needed, and was actually done really well. Now, as good as that whole 8th edition index reset, whatever was, what happened is by the time you got to the end of 9th edition, the rules had kind of bloated and gotten crazy again, and things were really hard. And one of the very last, if not the last, rulebook to come out in 9th edition was this one right here. This is the Astra Militarum Imperial Guard Codex for 9th edition. This book came out, and it was hot garbage. They got rid of a bunch of special characters that were beloved for many years. They changed up the way the army works and the units work, and they made it kind of very unfamiliar. And worst of all, half the stuff printed in this, literally, was wrong. Like, flat out wrong. All the data cards were wrong. All the points values were wrong. Everything was just wrong. And so these poor players and collectors that have been supporting this hobby forever, that have these armies, went out and spent a ton of money on these books. I think they retail for like $60 now, which is ridiculous. And everything in it was bad. And it just stunk. The whole thing stunk. Yes, I own the book. I bought it after 10th edition came out, and this book was literally worthless. It's like $5 on the secondary market. That's when I bought this book. Ain't no way I'm paying 60 teeth for this thing right out the gate, especially with it being bad. So, enter 10th edition, we go back to the index. This book, you throw it away. So, I mean, like I said, it literally dropped from $60 to $5 in like less than 6 months. That's how badly bungled this was. So you figure Games Workshop would have learned their lesson and not done that again. Well, fast forward almost 2 years, here we are in 10th edition, deep into 10th edition, and Astra Militarum finally gets their book, released this week in the new Death Korps of Krieg launch box. And well, drum roll, everything in it is wrong. And I mean, we're not just talking about like, oh, there's some points values that are wrong or this or that. Like, everything is wrong and invalidated. They're missing keywords everywhere. The way that the actual units work and their special rules are like missing and wrong. Like major things like Tempestus Scions not being able to deep strike and falling out of the sky. That's what they do. They fall out of the sky. How do you forget that in the rule book? And you expect us to pay a premium amount of money for this stinking rulebook that is literally completely invalidated before anybody even physically gets their hands on it for the second time in a row to the same army. What are you doing? And to bring this into like all armies and not just Astra Militarum, this isn't the only army that they've done this to. The 10th edition Orc rulebook, the Codex, was famously completely trash when it came out. They had the keywords so wrong that Gazgul could ride in a truck and like all of these other really, really bizarro interactions because they had no editing to it whatsoever. It took them almost a year to get most of the major things fixed, and we didn't even get like the army working right with Dawa until like, I don't know, a couple of months ago. It took a year and a half. Like, so they do this all the time. Nearly every single army that comes out, their codex is just garbage. The rules are wrong, the points are wrong, the descriptions are wrong, and they have to FAQ everything literally day zero. Should you be paying $60 for a book that's invalid before it's even printed? No! No, you shouldn't. Oh, I swear to Gork, I'm going to throw James Workshop out of the sky. It's just dumb. Okay. Business 101, okay? Full disclosure, old Big Mick here has a degree in business. I have run a small business before. I work in government now, but like I've worked for large business. I know a thing or two about business and economics and keeping your constituents and your customers happy, okay? Games Workshop, this is not it. This is not how you do it. We appreciate the free rules updates. We appreciate you trying to fix the things that you screw up. You screwing them up in the first place is really starting to sour people. It's not just me. Go watch any other YouTuber out there that's on about Warhammer 40k. Almost none of them like 10th edition, and I guarantee you none of them like the current Codex model. Now, that's not to say the Codex model has always been flawed. It's had a couple of major eras before that worked. One was the 3rd edition era. These tiny little codexes, as much snot as they get for being so little, they had great rules that were clear and concise and worked. They were cheap. These things were like, right there, $14.99 when they were new, back in the day. Which still, even adjusted for inflation and all that stuff, isn't that much today. I think it'd be like a $25, $30 book. Certainly not a $60 book. But that was okay because you got the rules and they actually worked and they didn't need to be fixed. Everything was actually play tested beforehand. And these codices, to this day, this codex from almost 30 years ago. Okay, more than 30 years ago. Shut up. This codex from almost 30 years ago is literally worth more money on the secondhand market than this codex from last year. Hello, that should tell you something, Games Workshop. But I understand that not everybody's into this, especially this day and age where we have digital rules. That wasn't a thing back in the day. Now it is. Now that you can actually make these army rules online and adjust them online, it's time to maybe go back to one of the OG styles of Codex, of course from Rogue Trader and 2nd edition era, these great big giant tomes here that were full, packed absolutely full with lore and special rules and things like that. This is what Games Workshop should do today in 2025. Forget putting the rules, the regular army rules in the Codex. Just release them as the PDFs. Period. The end. Period. The end. Then they're always free, so no one's ever going to complain about it. And they're always up to date, so no one's ever going to complain about it. And make this a love letter to the army. Put your crusade rules in here. Put special things in here. Like, hey, you know all those old units that were farming out to you know, go die and never be used in tournaments again? Maybe throw some rules for these in here and be like, hey, for you casual players, like these aren't tournament legal, but if you want to run some legends, here's all of our legends. That'd be really cool. throw a bunch of artwork in it, man. Throw all of the great old lore stories that were really, really cool in here. Heck, give us cutouts again. I'm cool with cutouts. Well, okay, maybe not those. You could print out the PDFs. But you know what I mean? Like, you can pack this full of art and photos and lore and background, and then I'd happily pay $60 for it. Hell, I'd probably pay more for it. The new Ultimate 40K edition book was amazing. Make one of those for every faction. I would happily pay money to get one of those for Orcs, and one for Imperial Guard, and one for Space Marines, and like all the factions that I'm interested in, because the artwork and the pictures and whatnot are cool. But I don't need the rules for the armies, and I don't need to spend $60 on a rule book that's literally all invalid and has not a whole lot of great other things in it. A rule book from 30 years ago should not still be worth more than a rule book from last year. It shows how much you're messing up. So yeah, if you agree with old Big Mech, or heck, even if you don't agree, throw it down in the comments. Let's have a conversation about this. What do you want to see from codices? Because clearly what's happening right now is not working. 2 editions in a row, they've screwed up the same thing on the same army and pissed off the same group of their customers. And they're doing it to multiple armies, okay? So this isn't sustainable. This is going to result in people not playing the game and moving away from it. This is how you get things like Trench Crusade becoming a big deal and people leaving 40K. And if you don't want that to happen, Games Workshop, you need to make a change. So, you guys and girls and gits out there, tell me, what do you want to see? Would you rather see more like 3rd edition, where it is just the army rules, but it's small and it's concise and it's cheap? Or would you rather see something more like 2nd edition, where you have a great big giant beautiful tome full of artwork and background and lore and things like that, and kind of get like I said, a love letter book, right? Hey, this is everything that makes your army cool. Whoa, right? Do you want to see that? And if so, like, what would you pay for those 2 things? Like, is the $25, $30 price point for just straight rules okay, or is that still too much this day and age? Would you pay $50-$60 for a love letter book? Like I said, my personal opinion, I think that in this day and age where you have digital rules and apps for the actual game, I wouldn't print any rules. I'd make 100% of it digital, and I'd make 100% of it free. It should not be paywalled behind anything. That's the other thing. Having to buy that stupid $60 book that's completely invalid to get a dumb code to use in the app that I already pay you for with my Warhammer Plus subscription just so I can look at my army's stats is ridiculous. That needs to go away completely. We could all agree on that. I guarantee you we all agree on that. Okay. Getting off topic again. But yeah, would you rather see all the rules be free and online and done, and then have the book be all the fun stuff? Or do you still want a physical rule book and you just want, like, just give me the rules and forget everything else? Or do you have something else? Do you have a different idea? If you got a different idea, throw it down below. Let's have a conversation about it. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I'm just going to keep right. I'm going to start yelling at clouds and throwing squigs at people if they don't start listening. Okay, I got to calm down. The Mad Doc said I got to calm down. I don't like this. All right, that's going to do it for this very rare rant video. Like I said, usually this channel is very, very positive. You can go watch my literally hundreds of videos to see that. I'm very much about the models on this channel. We love kit bash and having a great time here. So I hope that if you've watched this, if you haven't been a normal The Red Ones Go Faster viewer, come check us out. One of our other videos. We have a lot of fun. And for those of you that are sticking around, you do know that you are entered to win entered for a chance to win Old Big Mech's Orc Army. I am giving away a gigantic chunk of my own personal army as a giveaway for everybody that is supporting the channel monetarily as we try to grow. We have crested 5,000 members. We are on our way to 10,000. And yeah, so if you sign up for the Patreon, link down in the description below, or a YouTube membership to the channel, a channel membership, you are entered an entry for that contest for every one of those things that you do for every month that you do it. We'll talk about that more as we get going, because we'll be doing it for the first 3 months of the year. So anyways, more on that in other videos. Definitely click subscribe if you don't want to miss anything. But yeah, until next time, walk on!